Who's the boss? This guy.
Yeah, John. Look, John, I've told you, if you're going to have to find money, take it from the superannuation fund.
How can we get them across town real quick?
Well, we have access to the helicopter. We just use that.
Got it. We chop with them. I don't care if you have to steal it from the employees.
That's why I get the big bucks. That's why I do it. That's what I want from you guys. Jeez.
Who's the boss? I'm the boss. When I say you're going to do this, you're going to do that.
I am a motivator.
I just don't think that
You can't. I've got connections.
approaching me in
I've
that
got
luxury and
connections.
threatening me with
I'm not threatening you. I'm telling you to do
your
your
jaws
job.
like teeth.
That's right.
What's that?
Hey, look.
Yeah.
You're sending dogs to my house. Well, I might pay you a visit with my dogs.
You're a slow chain dragger.
I want the aggression. Well, I don't. Maybe keep your aggression to yourself. Bastard.
Okay, guys, come. Great. Alright, so I'm going to get you to switch around and, off the top of your head, improvise being a good boss.
What do you mean?
I think it's kind of hard to improvise being a good boss because we need to learn that. And leadership is an acquired skill. And if we're not taking the time to learn to lead, we'll probably end up being the bad boss.
Wow, what a statement there. Isn't that so true? Being a boss, being a good boss, being a good leader takes a lot of skill and a lot of training and a lot of experience to understand what it takes. So we're going to start getting into Intro to Management now. So this is Chef Hawks. We are on chapter 22 of our ProStart 1 adventure. Let's get going. So the managers are responsible for making sure that they have a safe and satisfactory operation in the overall hospitality industry. They've got to make sure the customer service is great. They've got to make sure that they have good cash management. And they've got to make sure that the execution of the food is safe and to the standard expected. They've got to make sure that they're meeting expectations, that the team is working efficiently and effectively. They've got to make sure that the operational costs that are allocated for and accounted for. They've got to make sure that the sales and service targets developed are met every time. So what skills does a manager require? So a manager really does need to have good math skills, at least at the very basic level. They also, really importantly, must have great personal skills with other people. They have to be able to empathize with them and work with people to get the best out of those people. So manager functions include human resources management, and that's where you're dealing with people and getting the biggest and best efforts from those people. Scheduling, food costing, sales building, guest service, training and development, financial management, and culinary management. These manager functions, their responsibilities are very vast in nature. Let's take a look at an example of a Ritz-Carlton hotel in the Middle East in Abu Dhabi and exactly what that hotel manager is responsible for on a day-to-day basis.
Hi guys, greetings from Abu Dhabi. Today we will get to know what it's like to manage the operations of a luxury hotel in the Middle East thanks to Alexander Self, hotel manager at the beautiful Ritz-Carlton Abu Dhabi Grand Canal. Let's meet him. Alexander, thank you very much for welcoming us today here at the Ritz-Carlton Abu Dhabi Grand Canal.
Good afternoon.
So can you tell us a little bit about you and about your career path?
Yeah, my name is Alexander. I'm the hotel manager here in the Ritz-Carlton Grand Canal in Abu Dhabi. I'm 20 years in the five-star hotel industry, and I worked in 8 hotels in Europe and Middle East.
And now as a hotel manager, what are your responsibilities?
My responsibility here in Abu Dhabi is I'm responsible for 600 ladies and gentlemen from 62 nationalities. And I need to look after the financial performance and the most important, to create guests for life here in the Ritz-Carlton in Abu Dhabi, but for our brand as well.
So what's the part that you like the most about your job?
First of all, I like that every day there are different situations, and I enjoy to see our ladies and gentlemen handling them. But also I like to be part of making decisions. So I always grow in the hotel business because I wanted to be one person influencing the direction of the property, and this is what I like most.
How would you describe your management style?
In my 20 years in hotel industry, I have seen a lot of management styles. The ones I find the most successful one is to involve your ladies and gentlemen. And there's a simple reason. They are working every day in their areas, and they know the areas best. So asking for their opinion and doing or making the decision based on this is always the most successful way.
So you made your way up through the rooms division department. Do you think this is the right path against the F&B, for example?
Well, I had an internship in F&B, and it was very interesting. However, I went back to rooms, and I have to admit the rooms division needs ladies and gentlemen who are always very creative and thinking out of the box. F&B is more the reputation of a property. This is bringing exciting. However, in rooms division, the rooms are there, the service sequences are there, and it's a little bit more difficult to create excitement.
In your opinion, what are the skills to have in order to be a good hotel manager?
I believe the most important skill to have is to align the teams. What it means is you need to have a message, and you need to have a goal, and you need to convince all the team members to follow you, to follow this path, that everybody is working in the same direction.
Managers have to wear several different hats in order to be successful. So the expectations come in from different areas. That can come from the company, it can also come from the employees, it comes from the guests, and it also comes in from all the applicable laws, from safety from customers coming into your establishment to food safety of things that you're serving. A company's expectations are generally offered in a mission statement and a vision statement. So what is a mission statement? A mission statement is a short statement that talks about what the company does right now. A vision statement is when you are looking to the future, and this is where the company is looking. It could possibly just be a couple of years down the line, or it could be looking at the next decade. But what is it that the company is gearing up to do in the long term? This type of a statement should be aiming high. This should be inspiring and exceptional. It should be talking about the great things this company is aiming to do. And it should all be about promoting and delivering to the guests to generate profits for the future. So let's take a look at a couple of vision statements. Heinz has a great one. Our vision is to be the best food company growing a better world. Our values: quality, integrity, consumer first, ownership, meritocracy, and innovation. And then Kellogg's, our vision to enrich and delight the world through foods and brands that matter. These are both inspiring, talking about what they plan to do in the long term as companies. Now, a mission statement. A mission statement should be the purpose of the organization to the employees and the customers, what it intends to sell or provide, and to whom, and what the organization is trying to do each day, right now in the present. It should be clear, concise, and interesting. Let's take a look at some. Something that's really interesting to me about some of those mission statements was that none of them actually mentioned the products that they sell. They didn't mention the cars, they didn't actually mention the soda products or anything else. They talked about what they aim to do, what they want to do as an organization, which can sometimes make things a little more interesting than just saying we're going to make some brown, sticky, fizzy drinks. It's a little more interesting, and their vision is bigger than that. So Starbucks, for their mission statement, they say to inspire and nurture the human spirit, one person, one cup, and one neighborhood at a time. This is huge. They don't even talk about the actual beverages that they serve beyond just saying one cup at a time. But they're talking about wanting to create a nice safe space where people can come to enjoy one another, and they can enjoy it in their neighborhood. Then the Cheesecake Factory, to create an environment where absolute guest satisfaction is our highest priority. I didn't hear any word about talking about the great food that they make or the cheesecakes, the crazy sized cheesecakes that they make. It doesn't matter, because the fact is that they're trying to have it where when you walk in there, you have nothing but the absolute satisfaction all the time that you're in there. How do we create this satisfaction? How do we create great moments? Well, we have to have goals to get us there. And we in the industry want to have SMART goals. This is how we make sure that everything that we're doing has purpose. So our goals should be statements of desired results, what we want to achieve. It should measure actual performance. So it shouldn't just be something where it's like, yeah, I want to be the best at that. Well, how do you measure that? How do you know when you're the best at that? It has to be measurable. And what people commit to, and the departments and the functions creating separate goals as well is important, so that as a whole, that organization can grow exponentially together. So organizational goals should all be about wanting to achieve something as a whole. They align with the vision and the mission statements of that company. It shouldn't be opposed to any of that. It should be a foundation for employee goals, and it should evaluate the operation's progress along the way, because it should all be measurable. So the objective is a specific description of what managers want to achieve. So a SMART goal, this is an acronym that stands for specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, time-bound goals. So specific, that's where we clearly state exactly what we're looking for that goal to be. And it should list the expectations specifically. Measurable, we should be able to measure the success or the failure in that goal. Is it achievable? So it has to be realistic. If you go and make a goal which is absolutely incredible but never achievable, then no one's going to follow you there. Your employees will not believe in what you're trying to achieve. It should be realistic. You should be able to meet it, but you should stretch you. It should be relevant, so it should connect the vision and the mission together. The mission being what we're doing now, and the vision, what we're aiming to do in the future, should be connected with that relevance. And then time-bound. We don't just say we aim to be the biggest hotel company, between now and 1,000 years from now? It should have a time constraint on there so that it gives a pressure point on there. There's a lot of people who actually work better when they have a deadline. I know some of you guys feel that way at times as well. So our SMART goals should ensure that employees know the goals and the mission. We should make sure that new hires are fully aware of this. We should be training employees with all the materials that align and emphasize this within our employee handbook and different papers like that. We should be posting these statements so that as employees go into the break room, as they walk around in the establishment, that they see the goals everywhere around them so they understand the importance. We should have it in document statements, and we should discuss them at employee meetings as well, and how far we're going to meet those goals, and if we need to press more, or if we need to alternate what exactly we're doing to achieve those goals. As a future manager, a big thing that you're going to need to do is earn the trust and respect of your employees. They have expectations of their own, whilst you may have expectations of them. But the fact is, they look for you to be a professional at what you do. They expect you to have some personal treatment of them as well. They expect you to understand various different things that you may have as goals as well. And also that you support them in their work. that they're not having to fight against you or any other kind of barrier that helps them to achieve their goals. So those employee expectations, looking at professionalism, is where they want you to be able to demonstrate knowledge, demonstrate leadership, practice honesty, practice confidentiality if they tell you something that needs to remain confidential, practice respect within the group, practicing moral behavior, showing the high ground, practicing good ethics. When you're working with personal treatment, practice fairness, be consistent with your employees, support them, show empathy, show that you understand the shoes that they're standing in with the difficulties that people sometimes have in life, and offer feedback. Feedback is critical for employees to know, am I doing a good job? Because if they don't know if they're doing a good job, then they'll always have that concern in the back of their mind and wonder if they're really fitting in. We should always, as managers, be supporting our employees by providing clear directions. There shouldn't be confusion as to what they need to do to achieve their goals. Provide the tools and the resources that they need to get those goals completed. Encourage their professional growth and development. It could be retraining, it could be additional training, it could be helping them to take the next step up in their career. Include employees in decision making that affects them. You always have to remember that they're generally experts in their particular field that they work in because they do it every shift, every day. If you're going to change something in their environment, then you need to have a conversation with them about it. They may be able to offer better concepts on something that needs to change than you can. And then provide a safe environment for them to work in. Practice reasonable and rational behavior at all times. So there should be a combination for you personally of knowledge, skills, good attitudes, and behaviors that you're showing. People with high levels of professionalism are excellent employees. They're honest, they're respectful, and they lead and serve others. And that's something that can be confused at times. If you believe that you are the boss, then you may be sorely mistaken that you're going to lead a great team. You need to serve your people who work for you, so that they understand that they are supported. You'll find that you'll be a much better leader in that role. When you're treating employees and all of your staff, your guests, and your vendors that you interact with care and diligence, then it will show. The value system that governs your daily conduct will shine through. Employees expect ethical behavior from their managers. As you saw in that video at the beginning, where that acting manager was saying, I don't care, just steal the money from the employees if you have to. That type of behavior will not be put up by long-term employees. They will leave you. But always treat employees fairly. You cannot have favoritism. Even if you particularly like one employee because they're such a hard worker, you can't then just shed off all of the other employees. A company doesn't run with just one person. Something that strengthens our teams significantly is when we have diversity within the teams. And so this diversity can include race, ethnicity, gender, sexual orientation, socioeconomic status, age, physical abilities, religious beliefs, and political beliefs. By having diversity in the workplace, we build strength, we build understanding. Sometimes, though, we actually need to have some training to make sure that people understand and also that people feel comfortable with this as well. So it's important when you're having this cross-cultural interaction going on that you have good communication among the employees with diverse cultures and backgrounds so that there isn't some kind of a breakdown in communication between everyone. This can actually break down stereotypes and prejudices that we've learned about before that can be very detrimental to teams. But this can actually, when people understand each other and understand where they're coming from, it's amazing the strength of that team that can build from that. It can improve that workplace environment. But for some people, it would be necessary to participate in diversity and sensitivity training. So this doesn't hurt for everyone to do, just because if you don't understand about a culture that another employee is coming from, then you can have some fears and some unfamiliarity with their culture it can create friction. But by participating in some training to do with this, so you do understand where these employees are coming from, then you can actually end up with a much stronger team, and you can actually enjoy one another better as well. So learn about other people's customs, their languages, their habits, even their culinary arts, right? Because around the world, this is something that can bring us together. Some of the amazing diversity in culinary that we have, that we share as humanity. And then model behavior that is positive to other employees. Make sure that you honor the differences. Don't look at these differences as being weaknesses that everyone needs to change to be the same. A homogeneous world can be kind of a boring world. The fact is, the differences that we bring to the table is the reason why the United States is such a melting pot of incredible culinary experiences. Integrate diversity into the mission statement too. This makes sure that every employee from top to bottom understands that diversity is the objective of the game, that we have a better team because of it. So policies and procedures should promote cross-cultural interaction within the company. It should be based on the mission. It should include diversity goals that the company has. Encourage studying and using different languages. This can be a great new skill for people to have. And learn certain key words and have educational assistance for those that need it. Using multilingual materials can also help. Having posters and charts, orientation materials, it can all help, especially if you have some people who speak other languages and English may not be their first language. It can help to improve communication and ensure that knowledge and skills are learned across your entire company, making you stronger. So what can the employees expect when we come to work and task support? So tools and resources should always be available that's needed for the task. We should have clear directions. If you have a chef in the kitchen, then they should have a recipe for all of the dishes that they're looking to have replicated thousands of times over. It shouldn't just be, well, chef's not here today, so it's going to be a little bit different. Well, no, it's not. It should be exactly the same every single time because we have recipes that have clear directions on them. It should always be a safe and harassment-free environment that employees can work in. So job descriptions is the way that we communicate specific tasks and standards and responsibilities for each job, for each person. The actions connect to the organization's goals as well, because overall, every employee should be working in the same direction to aim that company in the same direction to achieve those goals. And personal and professional development is important for every employee. We should be supporting that too. Now let's take a little look at problem solving. So this should be an intentional process, it should be a logical sequence, and it should have a reasonable conclusion. So how do we go about problem solving in the hospitality industry?
The fast pace of the restaurant and food service industry trains you to think quickly and act decisively, especially when a problem occurs. Successful managers in the industry will recognize a problem when it occurs. Then they define it, come up with a solution, and implement that solution as soon as possible. Problem solving is an intentional process followed in a logical sequence. Following the sequence leads to a reasonable conclusion. When management works through the problem-solving process correctly, the operation should not have to deal with the problem again. So it is important that managers follow a problem-solving model to help explore all of a problem's potential causes. First, determine the root cause of the problem. The root cause is the action or situation that initiates the problem. In this example, the food is not being prepared fast enough in the kitchen, causing long wait times. Now, determine what solutions and consequences are available. The list of alternate options might be long. The manager could do nothing, change the method of preparation of certain menu items to speed up cooking during service, remove certain items from the menu, instruct the servers to put orders in for the entrees sooner, or instruct the cooks to work more quickly. Now it's time to select the best solution. The manager will instruct the servers to put the orders in for the entrees sooner. After choosing the solution, develop an action plan by making a list of steps that need to be taken to change the current policy. Next, implement the action plan by talking with the servers about putting in orders for entrees when guests have finished about 1/3 of their appetizers, instead of waiting until each guest is nearly finished eating. Post a memo about the changes near the time clock and add it to the employee manual. Finish the process by documenting the problem and solution for future reference. Add a copy of the memo to the policy file and make sure that new servers are informed of the policy when being trained. And finally, observe the results of the new policy to see if it has the desired effect of reducing guest complaints. Problems may arise on a daily basis, but using a problem-solving process will help ensure success in finding a fast and logical solution.
As we work our way through problems to try and solve these, so we should define the problem, as we looked at in that video. So we should be asking questions. Who or what is affected? One or more groups? What exactly is the effect on them? Determining that root cause is critical. So we should be looking at what's initiating the problem. Where is it that our system is breaking down? The human errors. Is it questions that we should be questioning whether people are being affected by it? We should avoid accusations and blame. When you launch straight into accusing someone or something or a department of creating the problem, then the only thing you're going to get is negativity right back. You should always be looking towards the solution and assisting in creating that. Determine an alternative solution and consequence somewhere along the line, because you need to list the alternate solutions that we can find, including possibly doing nothing. But we should be asking the key questions: what are the consequences of this issue? Is this cost effective? Is it reasonable? Will it close the loop? Will it stop the problem? Will it be effective? Select the best solution. Consider the consequences to that solution, because make sure that that solution doesn't then create another problem that then has to be solved. We have to try and narrow the possible solutions down to the best one that we can find. And then develop an action plan. What's the action plan? Is that the strategy of steps? Is it the problems that does not make sure the problem that doesn't reoccur again? And making sure that we can describe what should happen, and so it can be very clear to the employees as well. So adding that to our policy or changing our policy. And then having an operational addition or change in our business. And then having that placed into our employee handbook, or changing our employee handbook to reflect this, just so that it's clear to everyone who has to be involved with it. Implementing the action plan then comes through where we are going to communicate the action plan and the preferred outcome that this is going to create. Those involved need to understand what the solution is, why it's needed, when it will be finalized, and how it's going to impact them personally. When you put these new plans into place, you always have to make sure that you follow up on all of these things. Make sure that you receive the action plan and accept the solution as well. If you don't follow up on these things, then they may not be fully implemented, and that could be more detrimental to even having the problem in the first place if you're creating new problems by having a partial fix for them. Then we're looking at documenting the problem and the solution for future reference, because it may work for this, it may be possible that this could work for other problems around in your establishment too. If we have documentation for it, then you don't have to start creating your wheel all over again. You can just refine your wheel instead. So make sure that you have a problem and solution file somewhere where you keep those documents, so you can consult those files if you need them for the future, because you may find that it may work for a short period of time. You may have to change again. The world is an ever-changing beast that you need to be able to keep up with. So now let's talk about leadership skills. So this is where we motivate and guide people. We're inspiring their trust in us to lead them in the right direction. We want to be a positive example to all of our employees, encouraging them and inspiring them every single day, motivating the employees to reflect They should have a vision of the organization and help us to achieve that vision of the organization. They're the ones who are going to help us to accomplish the organization's goals.
Successful restaurant and food service operations have strong managers, but the best managers are also very good leaders. So, what makes a good leader? A leader will motivate and guide people, rather than simply managing tasks and procedures. A leader also inspires trust and leads by acting as a positive example to employees. You can manage a group of people to reach a goal, but leaders reach that goal by encouraging and inspiring employees to achieve success. To be a leader, you need to develop the ability to motivate employees to behave in a way that reflects the vision of the organization and to accomplish the organization's goals. Good leaders provide direction. Leaders communicate clearly and ensure that others know what is expected of them. To do this, discuss roles and responsibilities with employees to make sure everyone understands their roles and any other directions. It's also important to lead consistently. Leaders must treat everyone fairly. Using the organization's vision, mission, and values as guidelines, leaders maintain standards by holding themselves and others accountable for their actions. Leaders also influence others. They have the responsibility to earn the respect of others. Those who influence by example show results. Strong performance, professionalism, and engaged, satisfied employees. Leaders also build consensus through a give and take dialogue, meaning they consider other people's opinions to help form their own. In addition, leaders motivate others. They give pep talks, ask for advice, and vocally praise people's work. They also must keep everyone informed so employees know what they are supposed to be doing and how it contributes to the big picture. Communication motivates people too. It gives them a sense of belonging by allowing them to contribute ideas. Leaders coach and develop others. They help coworkers learn better ways to perform tasks and allow them to take pride in others' success. Leaders can also anticipate change. They look for ways to continuously improve and communicate the benefits of new processes and procedures. Finally, leaders foster teamwork. A good team leader sees who is good at each task, helps team members improve their performances, and puts the team's goals ahead of his or her own. Ultimately, a successful team leader needs to listen and provide direction to bring the team together. People will always work for managers because it is part of their job, but people will truly follow leaders because they want to follow them. Inspire others to trust in your abilities, and great success will follow.
As we saw in the video there, so as a leader, you provide direction to your team. You communicate clearly to them so they know exactly what their expectations are, and you discuss the roles and responsibilities within your team. You always lead consistently. If people know exactly what to expect every single day, and not just on the days when you're feeling good, then they'll be able to follow you, and they will follow you with a smile on their face. If they walk in and they wait to see what kind of mood you're in before they know how to work with you, then you're probably not going to get the best from them. You should always be using the vision and the mission and the values of your company as a guideline to determine exactly how you make decisions as a team. Always maintaining the standards which are set out by the company so that you can hold them, yourself and themselves accountable to all of those standards. So as a leader, you should be influencing others. You should be looking to earn their respect. So you should be driving hard every day to try and earn that and show the results. Show strong performance, professionalism, be engaged with them and with your customers, and have satisfied employees who want to come to work because they believe in the direction you're going in. It's always great when you can build consensus, when you have everyone who's in agreement in that same direction. You should always have some give and take in that dialogue. It shouldn't always be about what I want. It should include the opinions of the people who are working with you as well. You want to be able to motivate others and be able to give a good pep talk. Just kind of like when you're working with a sports team, You want to have someone who can actually talk up the situation that's happening. Even if you have a fairly negative issue that's happening with a company, you want to be able to talk about that company and the good that's going to happen in the future for it. Ask for advice. If you need advice on being a better leader, it's everywhere, and you should look for it. You should always praise people's work, and praise it in public. It's really important that if there are issues that are going on, we talk about issues in private, but if there's something to praise your people for, then shout it from the rooftops. Make sure that everyone knows about it. Keep everyone informed on how the status of how your company is working or your part of the company is working, so that way everyone is informed about everything that's happening there. Enjoy coaching and developing others. This is something that I've always enjoyed. Learn better ways to perform a task. Take pride in other people's success. Shout it from the rooftops. Anticipate changes that can happen in companies, because they do, and sometimes they happen quickly as well. Always be looking at how you can continuously improve so that you can avoid the downfalls of an organization that has to change because someone else is telling you to change. Communicate the benefits of new processes and procedures that can be done with all sorts of things in your company. Always foster teamwork. This is always much easier if you can spread the weight of all of the things that have to be achieved within your team amongst your team. Who's good at each task? Well, let's make sure that you've got the best people working on the tasks, but also try and diversify it so that way, if that person should leave or if that person should step up into a new role, then you always have someone else who's waiting in the wings who's being trained on that as well. Always help team members to improve their performance. Put the team's goals ahead of your own, and listen and provide direction to all of your teammates. You have lots of information now in front of you, all about management, but this won't happen overnight. You're not going to find that general manager role in a high-end hotel somewhere straight out of high school. This is something that takes time and it takes experience, but it's not something that you can't start working on. So when you're even working in customer service somewhere, the fact is if you constantly try to look for the best ways of doing this, you are building yourself to be a better manager and a better leader, which is even more important than being a manager, because if you're a great leader, eventually you will be a manager, because people will respond to it and respect that. I wish you all luck in becoming managers, but in the meantime, thanks so much for listening, and I'll see you all in the kitchen. Cheers!